You're now watching a clip from the Inspired by show. You can watch the full episode on our YouTube channel or listen on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to head over there, leave us a 5-star rating if you enjoyed it, and follow the show.
Where do you get your inspiration from, Claire? And obviously, I know there is some similarities with some of the characters, particularly Rosie, when we spoke about your book the first time. Does the inspiration come from you in terms of your own personal stories? Do you find some of it weaves in, or friends, or is it just completely blank piece of paper and created from scratch?
For me, I'm not really ideas driven. I'm not like a plot or a hook driven person, probably coming back to that quiet sort of nature of the things I love to read and write. But it always starts with perhaps an atmosphere or a voice of a character. So for Talking at Night specifically, it was the voices of Will and Rosie. I sort of was listening to these two characters before I was really thinking about them. You know, things would come up, conversations between them would come up, and I would just scribble them down and sort of think, okay, that is trying to become something and I'll get to it later. So it's almost like this thread. It's like a thread that starts pulling, or I start pulling at, and then it sort of takes shape in the background if I give it space to do that. So it's a really hard thing to answer. I don't have ideas that hit me like the bolt out of the blue sort of thing. It is just, I do a lot of observing, a lot of listening, and just these characters. And I just think this urge to sort of tell stories just comes out of the woodwork. And obviously your emotional fingerprints are all over anything you write, but none of it is autobiographical. And I think that's a thing that a lot of people assume, especially with women writers, I've noticed. A lot of people make the assumption, oh, Rosie must be you, or, oh, I mean, my husband's thrilled that he likes to pretend that Will is based on him, which he totally isn't. He's completely fictional. But, you know, it's a job. You tell stories. So there are elements, there's certain things, for example, it's quite funny. There's like a broken oven in the book where the ignition just keeps clicking. And my old oven used to do that. And it was just a fun detail that kind of ended up in the story. And then once I was having a phone call with Ariella and she was like, oh, there's something wrong with my phone. Like, it's just making this crazy noise. I can't really hear you. And I was like, oh, no, that's the oven. And she was like, you actually have the clicking oven in the book. I was like, yes, I do. So there's certain things that come in, but I never sort of draw on friends or family or anything like that for the story. It all just sort of comes of its own accord.